Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know most of you have been enjoying my Sinhala content, but there have been a few of you who also wanted English content, and I decided today I'm just gonna make a video specifically for those of you who do not understand Sinhala and who want to know basically want some of your questions answered in English. So this is the video that I made for you guys. This is basically for you all to understand how you can get a job as a new medical graduate in Australia. So let's get on to the video. So to start off, some of you guys might know that I actually graduated from New South Wales as an international student. I was not an international medical graduate, which is a whole different area where, if you are an international medical graduate, you kind of had to do the AMC exams. Okay, I'll get to that just in a bit. But yeah, so when I graduated from New South Wales, we have something called the priority system, and this is often the same thing in the other states such as Victoria and Queensland. However, applications and the format of applications and how you apply for internship can differ from state to state, but as you guys might know, you need to do an internship to work as basically a doctor. So even though you get your degree, even though you have your MBBS or your MD and you're technically a doctor, you are not until you have your registration. And how you get that registration is by doing your internship, because you guys might already know there's a couple of compulsory things that you need to do for your internship, which is to get your general registration, which is like a surgery term, a medicine term, an ED term. Those three are usually the most compulsory terms. So once you do that, that is the only way you can get your internship. Anyway, moving on from that, what I was coming to was how different states have different ways of applying and different categories and different rankings, all of that stuff. But since I was in New South Wales, I'll give you guys as much detail as I know about New South Wales, because that's the one I'm most familiar with. So if you look here, this is basically the priority list, and as you can see, first priority are their local students. So local means students who are Australian citizens or PR holders who graduated from a university in New South Wales, and these students are usually category number 1. And if you look further down, if you look at priority number 5, that is us, international students. And category number 6 or priority number 6 is basically Monash Malaysia graduates, because Monash Malaysia has a relationship with Monash Australia. They're kind of like affiliated, so they, even though they're technically international medical graduates, they don't fall into that category because they're affiliated with the Monash Australia, so they fall into priority number 6. And IMGs or international medical graduates basically fall below that category. And for international medical graduates, you need to do your AMC part 1. You need to pass that, and after that you can either sit for AMC part 2 or you can do a work-based assessment or WBAs, and that's a whole different story. So if I was to talk about AMC pathways or like exempted pathways such as specialist pathways for international graduates, it's gonna be a whole different video, and I will be making this very, very soon. I just want to make sure I have all the information so I can share it with you guys. So just hold up, I'll definitely make that really, really soon, and I'll post it up as soon as possible. But for the time being, let's just talk about these international students graduating from Australia. So me, for example, when I was applying, I knew I was already priority 5. So we already knew what kind of hospitals we would have better chances of getting an internship in, and that's usually not the city hospitals, so not the big ones, the smack middle of the city. They're usually the hospitals a bit further away from Sydney, and in our case it was either Nepean Blue Mountains Hospital Network or Blacktown Hospital Network. And honestly, both of those hospitals still give you almost everything that you can get from these big city hospitals. For example, Nepean had neurosurgery, cardiology, gastroenterology, those kind of things, and both of them have EDs, and they all have little hospitals affiliated with them as well. So even though Nepean Hospital was the main one in the Nepean Blue Mountains network, they also had a Blue Mountains Hospital and things like that, so you can always rotate to other hospitals. So getting a job in one of those for your internship is not bad at all, because as I think I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. Once you do your internship, you can basically go anywhere else for your second year as a doctor, which is like your resident year. So you can fly interstate, you can go to a bigger hospital, because internship is usually the most competitive to get into right after medical school. So yeah, once that's out of the way, you can explore all of Australia if you want to. But moving on to what I was saying about internship. So we knew we had to kind of apply to either Nepean or Blacktown Hospital, or we could opt to go rural, or we could go private. However, this rural thing can depend from person to person. If you want to stay closer to the city, you might not want to go rural. But a lot of people actually talk about very good things when it comes to rural hospitals, because the community is smaller and you get to like interact more with your seniors, and apparently it's supposed to be quite good. I personally have only done an elective in a rural hospital, and I thought it was really nice. Like, there's an entire community there, but it was not something I wanted to do for one entire year. But if you're someone who wants to experience rural internship, you should definitely go for that too, because that is also a very good opportunity. Other than that, you can also apply for private hospitals. I personally don't know much about it, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you still do get your internship qualification, like your general registration. But I personally don't know anyone who went to a private hospital to work in. But if that's something you're open to, you should definitely go ahead to that too. But it's usually the public hospitals and then the rural hospitals, which are also public, that most of us apply to. So the applying format in New South Wales is super straightforward. You basically just have to get a letter from your uni saying that you finished your university, and you have to get a couple of documentations like signed and certified and all of this stuff. And then you kind of got to rank everything basically from the first hospital that you want to the last hospital that you want. And you don't have to sit an interview. You also do not need any references for public hospitals in New South Wales unless you're going rural. So it was a very straightforward application process, and usually the first round of jobs come out to the local graduates. The second round might come out to the international students who are international students who graduated from New South Wales as well. But it might be later in the year that you actually do get your job if you're an international student. But most of the time, you do end up getting jobs. No one I personally know has not gotten a job being an international student. So that is the advantage of graduating from Australia itself, regardless of being like a local or an international student. You're very likely to get a job. But if you're IMG, it's a bit harder. I know it's more competitive, but again, I'll talk about the pathways in a different video. But yeah, so this is kind of the gist of it, where you kind of apply to the hospitals you want in your final year. You rank them 1 through 10, 12, how many number of hospitals there are, and then you get a job in your final year. And as long as you graduate uni fine with your grades okay, then you can definitely start working, or basically from January itself. But yeah, that's basically a summary of what it's like to get a job and how you get a job in Australia as an international student. It can be a bit stressful, I won't lie. I think I was stressed when the first round of job offers came out, and I was like, oh, I didn't get a job. But that is quite normal as an international student. But everyone I personally know has gotten a job, and it's been great for them since. So the only issue is some people want to fly interstate like I did, where I moved from New South Wales to Victoria. It's much harder to do that for your internship, like I mentioned before, but you can always try to do that after you finish your internship. So yeah, I hope this video made sense to you guys. Definitely stay tuned for the next or the following video that will be about AMC pathways. And if you guys, as usual, you'll send me questions and I try to answer them as best I can, and you can leave comments here. And do let me know if you want me to do more English or Sinhala videos. I think I'll continue to do a mix of it because y'all tend to like both of them, so I don't know. But yeah, if you did like this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.